guys, welcome to the very first episode of Film Bunker. I'm Kez, this is Chad, and to my left we've got Justin. We're going to talk all things film. To kick things off on our very first episode, we're going to look at 2017 in review, the best films, the worst, and all things that we think are relevant to film. So Chad,
yes.
Tell us, what is your top 3 films of the year?
Top 3. I'm going to go from like 3 to 1. Ready?
Yeah.
Kong, Skull Island.
Ooh.
The drama. Samuel L. was brilliant when his little tidbits with King Kong. It's like they were both in the right. You loved both characters, but you sort of wanted Samuel L. Jackson to just die already. You know what I mean? He was just impenetrable. He was like
Isn't
the
that in
Terminator.
his contract? I know that's short.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Stop it. It was a beautiful movie. They did phenomenal building the world. I think it was the best representation of King Kong yet.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I read the book when I was a kid, and just
I like the color grade too. Very Apocalypse Now.
very much so, man. The monsters were really cool, and it was just an overall nice movie to watch. John C. Reilly was brilliant. You know, he brings light to every situation.
So what brings you in at number 2? Then?
Number 2 would have to be Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok. I loved the fact that Thor, when he lost his hammer, he was like, "Oh, I can't do anything," right? But then he got like angry and he turned into Raiden. You know what I mean? He was like, he became the god of thunder. You know what I mean? The god of lightning, and that went bonkers. Like, I got a little choked up in the theater, you know. And then another thing I really loved about that film was that it took me back to when the Hulk was just the Hulk. You know what I mean? Like, he had dialogue, and he was always the Hulk, and he was always angry. And in Thor Ragnarok, he's got his own room, he's got his own armor. You know what I mean? Like, it blew my mind.
I have to say, I really like Mark Ruffalo's interpretation of the Hulk.
Absolutely,
I
man.
love what the director did for that movie, and like the fact that he was in it as that stone thing.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm solid as a rock thrower," except for that bit.
Except for that bit.
Bit of Kiwi humor.
Well, it's
And
a circle.
coming in at number 1.
Number 1, The Greatest Showman.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Hugh Jackman blew it out of the park. He actually ripped his vocal cords doing it.
Wow,
He belted it out, man.
I know he's a bit of a singer.
Yeah, he has a beautiful voice. The acting, the choreography, the stunts, the graphics, everything. Like, the drama was just crazy. Because that's like, it's a film about kind of where the circus started. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys haven't watched it, man, go see it once, twice, 3 times the charm. It's unbelievable. Just
Bit of a spectacle.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna buy it and watch all of the special features and just continue to watch it.
And Justin, your top 3 films. of the year,
Okay,
starting
I'll do you
from
3 to 1.
Yeah,
Alright,
3 to 1. Here we go.
Okay, right on.
3 didn't come out at the movies, but it came out on DVD in Australia, and it's just been released in the movies in America. Osiris Charlotte. It's actually an Australian film. I'm not big on Australian films, but I really enjoyed this one. It's got Danny McPherson, Luke Ford, not too many other decent. Oh, Rachel Griffiths is in there as well. Actually,
Okay, yeah, she's great. Australian.
She's actually really good in this as well.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, of all the actors that I saw, and I've seen them in other things, and some of them I didn't think they were very good in other stuff, but they were really good.
Yeah, okay.
Performance-wise, I saw a lot of really good performances, and it's a really interesting story, very different. And I think it says a lot about, like, Australian filmmakers as well. Like, if given the right tools, we can actually do big things.
Yeah.
So that's my number 3. Number 2, we Blade Runner, just for the fact that it was so visually stunning.
Yeah.
And you know the hologram, the chick hologram thingy that he's got. I bought a Google Home thingy, and now every time I walk past it, I go, "Who am I, Google?" And it goes, "You are the sexiest man in the world." I'm just like, paid for itself. So yeah.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah.
Until Chad gets a hold of it and reprograms what it says.
So that was number
you
2.
should definitely
That was just visually pleasing, and I really enjoyed the storyline as well.
Deakins' cinematography, working with Denis Villeneuve. I think he's one of my favourite directors at the moment. So,
But it still paid tribute to Ridley Scott, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's still,
absolutely. Yeah, it had that flavour about it. So that's for sure.
So that was number 2, and number 1. Even though there were some things that I didn't like about it, Star Wars. I absolutely loved it. I walked out of there just on a high. There was one little splinter I was just like, I can't work out what's bothering me, and I went back and watched it again.
Yeah, all you need to do right now is check out the internet about that, because that seems to be hot subject at the
It
moment.
is.
The
Yeah,
Last
absolutely.
Jedi.
But my reasoning is a little bit different. So
Yeah,
I'll
cool.
go into that in more depth in another episode. But for the time being, Star Wars for me was just
Number one.
Ryan Johnson. Like I'm a big J.J. Abrams fan,
Yeah.
but Ryan Johnson, like I watch everything as a filmmaker,
Mm.
and it just kept me guessing. And that is not very often that films can do that for me, because I usually walk in, watch 10 minutes, and I go, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every film has to follow the same structure. I was just watching it going, what, why, when, what?
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, this poor guy here had to sit next to me while watching, and I'm horrible to watch films with.
He's,
Watch out!
Oh man.
Do you throw your popcorn up and everything?
Oh no, dude! I'm just like, if it's like a quiet scene, I'm like, oh. Oh. Whole theater laughed.
They're gonna kiss!
everyone in the theater laughed again.
Whole theater laughed.
Yeah. We were lucky actually, because Chad and I got to go to the actual red carpet premiere in Sydney, and it was
Fox
just
Studios.
it was just
Yeah.
it was just such a wonderful experience.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
My top three is going to be coming at number 3, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. Once again, I think he's a master filmmaker, and that definitely hit some really good notes there. Little strange editing choices, but otherwise brilliantly photographed and.
Color grading as well.
Yeah, the colours
it
are
was dark, man. It was
amazing.
really
Once
cool.
again, teals and blues, which we can talk about later. In coming in number 2 was Matt Reeves' War of the Planet of the Apes. I think that trilogy for me was just
100%.
fantastic. And to finish it off like that, it was on such a high. Woody Harrelson
Oh, yeah.
nailed it, and I think it's time Hollywood recognises motion capture performance. I think Andy Serkis definitely
100%.
deserves something from that. I mean, that was
100%.
just really hit you in the
And
feels.
he's in everything.
Yeah.
He's in everything.
Well, he was in the previous King Kong as not only King Kong, but he was also an actor.
Yeah, an actor in there as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you watch things like Benedict Cumberbatch's performance of Smaug, and he's all dressed up and he's crawling around the ground. So it's a big thing now, and I think we need to recognise that. And coming at number 1 for me was Hugh Jackman once again. I think he absolutely knocked it out of the park with Logan. For a franchise that's sort of going a little bit downhill, and they just did a 180 and just really just hammered it home. James Mangold to turn that into a bit of a western. It's just brilliant.
Very cool.
So.
I think what's funny about the things that we've mentioned, and it kind of reminds you how important story actually is. You can throw visual effects and stuff. But like when you just talked about the fact that they brought it back, and you were talking about with Thor Ragnarok and all something, and I was talking about with Osiris Child, and like it's story is just so bloody important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't. I mean, you can throw visual effects at anything, but story. If you don't have a good story, you don't have a good film.
So moving on, what were our worst films of 2017?
Go ahead, Jess.
For me, it was actually Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, I got to say that the Guardians of the Galaxy 1, out of all the films I've ever seen at cinemas, that was my favourite. Of all the films I've ever seen at a cinema.
Okay,
I know,
alright,
not
that's
great,
fair.
not the greatest film of all time, but the experience I had in the cinema, that was my most favourite. But Guardians 2, when making a sequel, a lot of people sort of miss the 8 ball a little bit. Like like if you look at, say, Terminator 2, right? Probably one of the greatest sequels of all time.
Yeah.
Why? Now you look at some of the characters, right? If you look at every single one of those characters, they were absolutely nothing like what they were in episode 1, right? So Sarah Connor, Sarah Connor's
grown.
Yeah, so Sarah Connor's
exactly,
gone.
cool.
She was probably the only one who actually reprised her role in the second one.
Yeah.
Everyone else was different. So Arnie was now the goodie. He wasn't the bad anymore.
That is true.
John Connor was a different. Well, John Connor hadn't been born in the first one, so he was a new character.
enough,
Or the baddie, the T-1000, was a new guy. So Sarah Connor was the only one who reprised the role. And if you look at her in the first one, she's this wounded little thing that could get hurt, and in the second one, she's this commando chick.
G.I. Jane.
Yeah.
So
badass.
you look at that, and then you go, okay, we'll look at some other sequels like Ace Ventura 2 sort of thing. Now, even though I enjoyed Ace Ventura 2, if you look at all the jokes they tried to rehash from the first one, they weren't as good, but all the new jokes were all
hilarious.
They sort of fall into
Yeah.
that pit. Yeah.
So, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I felt like they didn't tick as many boxes as they did in Guardians 1. So, like, Guardians 1, everything was really funny, but everyone was funny with their characters. So
I think the other
Guardians
thing
2
that I agree with you on this one is that, especially the character side of things, is the characters didn't really have any growth. They actually just had to add new characters to make the film work. I think that you're right. That's definitely the biggest pitfall.
That
What about you, Chad?
said, just to touch base on yours. I don't know about you guys, but when what's his name? Mohawk. What's his name?
Michael Rooker's character.
Yeah. What's it? Yondo.
Yondo, yeah.
When Yondo did the whole sacrifice thing for his man, who's cutting onions?
Oh man.
Who started chopping the onions up? You know what I mean?
That wasn't a good.
That was rough.
emotional
That was rugged. So my worst film in 2017, and now mind you, it wasn't a bad film. Okay, it was quite funny, but so was Ocean's 11, Swingers,
Oh God.
Ocean's
Where's he going? with
Ocean's
this?
13, Rush Hour 2, Vegas Vacation, The Hangover, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Those were all funny Vegas movies too. Girls Trip. Girls Trip was the same movie that we've seen so many times. Different characters, mind you, different screenplay, different everything. But they had some issues. Either they did plan a trip or they didn't. Whatever. Trip goes downhill, and they're just like Vegas. Some stuff happens in Vegas, and then they learn a lesson, and then come back from
Obviously,
Vegas.
this case, it didn't stay in Vegas.
Right.
You,
You know what I
had
mean?
to go see the movie.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, it's been done before, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
I think my worst film in 2017 is gonna have to be Tom Cruise's The Mummy.
Oh.
I was so pumped for a Mummy reboot. I think it's one of the greatest franchises that's around. Boris Karloff's first iteration back in black and white films.
Yeah, man.
And then you've got Brendan Fraser's fun, upbeat,
yeah.
but still Arnold
Very
Vosloo,
serious.
still quite
Yeah,
serious.
yeah.
And Stephen Summers when he was in the prime of his filmmaking, and then he sort of. But once again, what not to do with a good franchise is pump too much money into it and go all CGI.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You miss the story, and I think they missed the mark heaps on that one. So
That's actually a criticism that I have for a lot of current films these days. Like the baddie just is this big CGI character, and like I know you guys love Marvel, and I enjoy Marvel as well. But a lot of the Marvel films are not doing it for me because they'll just throw a big CGI character. There'll be no back. I know that.
I think a lot of the tentpole movies are doing that lately. I have to agree with you, and I don't think it's just Marvel. I think DC suffer that, and everyone knows that I'm a big DC fan. But yeah, it's one of those things where the villain just sort of seems to be just tossed in as a plot device rather than an actual integral character.
Yeah, and as we were talking about earlier, what makes a good villain is conviction and story and so forth. And people relate. Like, if you can relate to why a villain is the way they are, you will sort of personalize a relationship with them more, and so it becomes more scary because it's more sort of real.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Let's talk about the films we're excited for next year.
Okay, so Chad, do you
Or
want
this year,
to go
sorry.
first?
God, look at that thing. It's got its own area code.
There's actually like little satellites orbiting.
So it's bulbous.
I'm gonna go straight out and say that I'm really excited for The Predator.
Oh yeah.
Man, that franchise. Shut up.
Yeah.
That franchise for me means everything. And Chad here, we fight like tooth and nail about Alien and Predator.
Yeah.
And I do love Alien. Don't get me
And
wrong.
I do love Predator, but
is this the one
aliens
that
are better.
the guy who was in the original one?
Yeah,
directed?
so Shane Black, who plays the guy with the glasses in the first one, he's directing this. He directed Iron Man 3. He also wrote this. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that movie. One of my favorite actors at the moment, Boyd Holbrook, is taking the lead, and I really loved him in Logan. So can't wait to see this.
Okay, cool.
Chadwick.
All right. So I've met this guy, and he is a gentleman and a scholar. We got to bro down a little bit, and he's such a cool guy. Not only that, but this is one of my favorite characters when nobody liked him. You know what I mean? Green pants, yellow shirt, and like a
I know where this is
clamshell, you know what I
going.
mean? And his powers were always useless until, like, stuff went down in the water. You know what I mean? Other than that, he was just there. But this new take on Aquaman looks so crazy awesome. I feel like it's not even, they're not doing an Aquaman movie. They've turned Aquaman into Poseidon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that alone, giving him that amount of power and veracity and vivaciousness is just unbelievable. He's got the armor. He
just looks good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks like a merman. You know what I mean? And it just
not a merman.
And he's a funny guy. You know what I mean? And I'm rooting for him. And I think it's just gonna be.
Actually, to back that up, I mean, the greatest thing about that thing right now is Go Aussie Power Again. Our very own James Wan, the creator behind the Saw movies, is taking the helm.
Cool.
We've seen 1 or 2 photos from the set so far, and that's about it. So it's been quite hush-hush, but it looks amazing. So yeah,
It was also filmed on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and South Australia, so that looks good. Justin, what's your most looking forward to?
Well, even though I don't think it's going to be very good, I'm still really looking forward to the Han Solo movie.
Is that because of the production problems, or?
Yeah, and their selection of cast.
Ooh,
Okay.
Like I think casting these days, I think we've really lost the edge on casting. I think
It seems to be like who's the biggest person that's sticking in the
a little
right.
bit, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And like Emilia Clarke is one of my favorite. Like I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, but like throwing her into a role in the Han Solo movie, I'm just not.
She's not
I don't know
very
how I'm
Star
going to
Wars-y.
feel about it, so
Okay.
I'm sort of reserving that
I can see
judgment.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see it because I love the Star Wars franchise, and but I'm just I don't know how that's going to go.
Well, if it
It had to be
turns
rescued
out-
by Ron Howard.
Oh, actually,
yeah.
no, look, okay, I'll give you the best example. Here it is. So, as an actor, right, and you'll be
Yeah.
able to understand this a bit.
Yeah.
As an actor, when you see roles that you have aspired to do your whole life,
Yeah.
and then you see it get plopped in by someone that they've just sort of gone a little bit. So, like Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalker in Ep2 and 3, right? So, but basically, like for an actor growing up wanting to play Anakin and then seeing Hayden Christensen do it, I was sort of like, that let me down a little bit. You know, he did a pretty good job and everything, but it let me down. So like with the guy who's going to play Han Solo, I think they've got to be very careful about who they cast.
It's
in
funny
the role.
actually because in the same universe you got Rey, who they did an open casting for, and they just searched until they got the right person
That's
for
what
the
Star
role.
Wars is about.
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jump across to our Facebook page, like and share, comment and subscribe. And you could win yourself a copy of Logan, my favorite film of 2017, courtesy of us at the Film Bunker, not sponsored by 20th Century Fox. All you have to do is tell us who you think should be the next Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's hung up his claws, so let's watch this space, I guess. So the most creative answer will win a copy of this Blu-ray. Otherwise, like and comment and subscribe on our channel, and we'll see you next time.
Double points if you say that I should be the next.
Also, if
Maybe
you're,
with not
if you're
less
still
ginge.
with us, we thank you.